are now listening to the Creative Insomniac. Hello everyone. Welcome back to season 2 of the Creative Insomniac. Now, as I expressed in the trailer for this season, season 1 was going to only have 5 episodes and we were going to jump right into season 2. I know I have brought you guys up to speed on social media and here in the trailer when I told you guys what I went through last year, or the end of last year. With my surgery and everything, which kind of basically just shut down the rest of season 1. I needed to focus on my health. I needed to get better. And now, as I said before, I'm on the road to recovery. So yes, I know this episode was supposed to come out on Sunday, but because we had all kinds of crazy storms and the wind was just out of control. It was just disrespectful. The weather has been disrespectful for the last few weeks. It has been constantly raining. The thunder and the lightning is just, oh man, it's been a crazy lightning storm every other day. We have been definitely having like Florida weather, like every day around the same time. It would just suddenly start pouring and then the sun would come out. But yeah, the weather, on Sunday, it was bad. And I didn't want to record with, bangs and explosions happening in the background because the episode it didn't call for it. But if it did, I would have recorded. But yeah, you will be getting this episode at 10 p.m. tonight. So I am recording it right now as we speak. As I stated before, if you're not following us on YouTube, our YouTube channel is up and live. If you want to check out some behind the scene footage, that will be going out sometime this week, beginning of next week. If you want to check out the new visuals for this channel, for the YouTube channel, please go to our YouTube channel. It is the Creative Insomniac. As I stated before, there is another person on YouTube with that name. However, I do have the copyright for it. And I believe this person creates like Etsy art and stuff, and so we're not even in the same category. So if you do happen to see a page with like handcrafts and things like that, that is not me. You guys know my logo by now. If you search YouTube, you'll see my logo. Look for the Creative Insomniac. That is me. Or you can type in the Creative Insomniac podcast, but we are called the Creative Insomniac on YouTube. But yeah, shout out to all the other Creative Insomniacs. It's it's hard out here, yo. All right, so what the heck is today's episode about? Actually, today's episode is a part of a series. Season 2 is going to be about parasomnias. Now, I know you're like, what the freak is a parasomnia? That sounds like a parasite that won't allow you to sleep. And yeah, you're scaring me and I don't know if I want to listen to you anymore. So parasomnia is a type of sleep disorder. So it's a category of sleep disorders that involve abnormal movements, behaviors, emotions, perceptions, dreams that occur while falling asleep, sleeping between sleep stages, and during arousal from sleep. And with that being said, let's get into it. So today's episode, as I just stated, is about parasomnias. The parasomnia that we are going to be specifically talking about in this episode is sleep paralysis and the correlation to insomnia. All right, story time. So today's episode is called The Night Hag. So in episode 3 of season 1, we spoke about lucid dreaming. Definitely check that episode out if you haven't. In that episode, I talk about how it can feel almost like having a superpower. You can basically control or alter the events in your dreams as you experience them in real time. You can interact with characters in your dream and even change the narrative of the storyline. If you've ever watched any of the Freddy Krueger movies and you've seen New Nightmare, Dream Warriors, then you can understand the concept I am trying to convey here. But in episode 3 of season 1, we dive into lucid dreaming and how cool it can be to stop a nightmare as it's happening. Now, in regards to today's episode, imagine being fully awake, your eyes are open, but you are unable to move your body at all. You're completely paralyzed and you can't speak. The only thing you can move is your eyes. Your eyes are wide open and you feel as though there's something in the room with you. You can almost make out a dark figure in the corner of your room. Some people say they see something on the corner of the bed, at the foot of the bed. Either way, suddenly the figure moves closer to you and climbs on top of your chest. It begins to wrap its hands around your throat. You can't breathe. You're not dreaming. You are fully awake and your eyes are wide open. This isn't a dream. You are witnessing this in real time with your eyes. And that is sleep paralysis, or better known as the night hag. Every family has its own, own little name for it, own story. In my family, it's called the witch. My family will say, oh, that witch was riding you, or that witch was riding me last night. You know, I opened my eyes and I was trying to get your attention. I was, but you wasn't waking up. You wasn't saying, you couldn't hear me. You didn't, I was trying to get you to look up. And this thing sat on my chest and it was sucking the life out of me. It was sucking the air out of me. I couldn't breathe. So there's plenty of instances of that happening in my family. As I stated before, anything I talk about in this podcast, I have experienced in real time, in real life. So, yeah, that's my family's name of it. Other people, other families or other cultures, they call it the night hag, or I might be butchering this, but Nocnista in other cultures. But it all has it's all the same thing. It's an entity that comes to you at night. You're awake. You know you're fully awake, but you cannot move. And the only thing you can do is move your eyes. You see something in the corner of the room moving towards you. Some people can't open their eyes, or they just choose not to, and they can sense that something else is in the room with them, not their significant other, not their dog, not their kid, but they can sense something evil, something dark is in the room with them. They can sense this, and it's an overwhelming sense of fear and dread, and it can last for 2 or 3 minutes until suddenly the paralysis fades away and they can move and breathe and they can open their eyes and they can get up. It's the most horrific feeling in the world. You are utterly powerless, and there's absolutely there's absolutely no reason for it. In that moment when you're trying to make sense of it, you're like, what the hell just happened? What the heck did I just experience, and why? And why the heck am I seeing demons at the end of my bed? What was that? So as I stated before, sleep paralysis is a type of parasomnia. And I know everybody's like, well, what the heck are parasomnias? So I'm going to give you a deep breakdown of what parasomnias are. And if you suffer from one of these, then you now have a category to put it in. If you have never been to a doctor, if you've never spoken to anyone in depth about this, you'll get, a little history about what you're experiencing. So, as I stated, parasomnias are a category of sleep disorders that involve abnormal movements, behaviors, emotions, perceptions, and dreams that occur while falling asleep, sleeping between sleep stages, and during arousal from sleep. In scientific terms, it is described as a state in which your mind wakes up before your body. Your mind is slowly waking up from a dream and your body is still completely shut down, which is why you can't move. Your brain begins to process, your brain begins the process of waking your body up, and kind of like a car in the wintertime, it takes a few moments to warm it up, which leaves a brief moment in which you're awake, but your body is still shut down and your mind is half awake and half asleep. Honestly, when I was doing research for this, in my honest opinion, I feel like this is such a weak explanation for this, because why? Why does everyone who suffer from sleep paralysis see the exact same thing, or at least a variation of it, when they're having these episodes? Myself included. I mean, if my brain is still somewhat in a dreamlike state, why wouldn't I see bits and pieces of the last thing I was dreaming about? Why would everyone experience and see and feel and sense the same exact thing? Honestly, the scientific explanation for this is really weak in my opinion. But again, I'm not an expert. However, I have experienced sleep paralysis, and there's just no way in hell. It just doesn't make any sense. And this analogy that they, use for, when you in a car in the winter, you got to let it warm up a little. My car still starts in the winter, okay? It still moves. If I wanted to just turn the key and peel off, is it good for the engine? No. But if I wanted to start the car up and peel off, I could. So, no, this isn't the same thing, and this kind of goes into, I had so many crazy thoughts when I was reading the research for this. It kind of goes into that whole we're in a simulation thing, where it's like, so if my body is shut down, but my mind is working, and I'm seeing something in the corner of my eyes when I wake up, my brain is processing things, but my body is still shut down. It's like kind of like I don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie The Avatar by James Cameron. When when the soldier, he goes into the machine and it gives him the ability to become one of the Na'vi, and it's like, what if when we have sleep paralysis and we wake up and our body is still shut down, it's because the uplink is still uploading. I don't know how to describe it. Let me know in the comments if you understand what I'm trying to say here. If you understand what I'm trying to say. I feel like that, even though I can't even get that explanation out, it's still better than than what I just read, the scientific version of this. Because why is everybody seeing demons? What is the point? How is it that everybody is seeing some kind of witch or some kind of demon? Some kind of witch or some kind of demon. Why is everyone having the exact same experience? Some people see shadow people, they see dark figures. What if that's the scientist running the simulation? I know, I'm falling down a deep rabbit hole. Why not? Listen, okay? That's what this podcast is about, exploring creative ideas, creative things, and, the Matrix. Hello, that's the entire idea that the entire world is asleep and run inside of a computer program or inside of, a simulation. And I honestly cannot wait for the 4th installment. So, yeah, if you wanted to ask me if I believed we're in a simulation, I don't know, man. I don't know. What I do know is that there is something very odd about everyone that experienced some kind of sleep paralysis sees and feels the exact same thing. Why not, like, if I'm in the middle of having like the best dream of my life and I've hit the lottery and I've won $1 billion, why don't I wake up, and if I have one of these episodes, why aren't I seeing money and dollar bills raining over me? Why is that not what I'm seeing? Why am I seeing demons? You know what I mean? Like, what if I'm having a dream about being an Avenger? Or, I mean, I said that in the lucid dreaming episode, but yeah, like, what if I don't, what if I wake up and I have an episode of sleep paralysis and like the Hulk or Thanos is standing over me or something, or Thanos is in the corner and he's about to snap his fingers, or I'm in the middle of a rock concert and I'm like on stage killing it right now. Like, why isn't that the something that I see when I have one of these episodes? See, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. But again, I'm not an expert, just someone that has suffered through sleep paralysis quite a few times. And it's something supernatural. That's my wholehearted, that's what I feel. It's something supernatural. Whatever. That's just what I believe. And I know I am not the only one. But again, we're going to continue because I kind of rambled on for about 4 minutes. But it makes you think. That's the whole point. It makes you think. All right. So, continuing. Who is most affected by night terrors? So, children between the ages of 3 and 7 are most affected by sleep terrors. It is said that sleep terror symptoms include screaming or thrashing around, rapid heartbeat, abnormally fast breathing, dilated pupils, and sweating. Episodes last between 10 to 20 minutes. Most children return to sleep afterwards and do not remember having any kind of sleep terror at all. What are possible causes of parasomnias? So, possible causes of parasomnias are genetics and having a first-degree relative with a parasomnia. And now I'm going to give you a few different parasomnias so you can get a good idea of what I'm going to be talking about for season 2. So you have restless leg syndrome, periodic limb movements, sleep apnea, insomnia, sleep deprivation, chronic pain conditions, mental health conditions. Certain medications actually will cause a parasomnia to trigger, such as sedatives, excessive alcohol use, substance abuse, addiction, or withdrawal. Some of the causes are chronic pain conditions, mental health conditions, and certain medications. Alcohol and drugs can trigger you to have an episode, or having a relative. So it just means that it's in your genes, and there's just no way around it. You're gonna get a parasomnia. So what is the correlation between sleep paralysis and insomnia? I think we pretty much kind of touched that one on the nose already. Sleep paralysis and insomnia are part of the parasomnia family. Patients of parasomnia sometimes suffer such severe episodes it can cause them to seek relief by forcing themselves to stay awake, which eventually leads to insomnia. Basically, the plot line of every Freddy Krueger movie ever. Don't fall asleep. Let's take a look at some of the testimonies from patients and sleep paralysis. We can start with one of mine. So when I moved into one of my first apartments, it was this very cute one little bedroom apartment. And I was just so proud of myself. I loved that little apartment. When I first went into the building to see the apartments, I actually saw the apartment next door, and I fell in love with that one. And when I called the next week, it had already been taken. So I was told, so I was told, hey, you know what? The apartment next door will be vacant in another week if you want to check that out. So I was like, all right, cool. You know, I came back 2 weeks later to see the apartment next door, and I fell in love with it. It was the same exact design as the original apartment, but it was just mirrored, it's flipped. So yeah, I took it. I was happy. My eldest and I moved in, and it we made it work. It was our little our little escape away from the world, and it was great until it wasn't. I started getting really, really bad headaches, like really bad headaches and migraines, to the point where I had like a nosebleed. I couldn't see out of my left eye for a while. Like anytime I would have a headache or migraine, I just could not see out of my left eye. And it just got so bad. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And my neighbors are above me. I don't know what zoo them kids came out of, but it just sounded like it was just turf wars going on up there all the time. And I mean, till about 11 o'clock at night, they were just going in, just boom, 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 boom. I had to go up the stairs a few times and knock on the door. And I was just like, what are y'all doing up here? Because you almost knocked out my ceiling fan. That's how hard they were stomping. Of course, me going up there and asking them to chill out only made them want to do it more. And I was just like, well, I am not in a position to move. So I did what any other person would do. I took the petty route and I bought a really big set of speakers. And I would just blast my music. I would blast my music. And I mean, I would blast like things that I knew people were not going to listen to or not like. And I would put one speaker on the fire escape and I would just light it up. I would turn that shit up. And I was just like, you know what? If I can't sleep, what does that mean? I ain't getting no sleep because of y'all. Y'all not getting no sleep because of me. I would turn it up. And I would put my headphones on and I would listen to what I actually want to listen to. And I would just let the speaker play. Eventually, we got to a mutual understanding that, you need to sit your kids down by at least 7 o'clock. I'm sure there's a Facebook post floating around somewhere of me talking about doing this as I'm doing it. And it's just, it just brings back memories. Anyway, so eventually that stopped. But the headaches, I thought the headaches was because they were running around like crazy and because of the noise. I thought that's what it was, but nope. It gradually got worse. And then the night terror started, the sleep paralysis, the episodes. I would have an episode every night. It was so crazy. And then one day I had an episode in the middle of the day. And I was like, oh, no, nah, I think that lady cursed me or something. I was like, nah, wait, something's not right. Because it was the middle of the day, but no one was home. It was the middle of the day, and it was my day off, and I was like, all right, I need to take a nap because I was doing my, I think, second semester in college. And, I did like a double shift over the weekend and I was just like, I need to get some sleep. So I was dozing off and I fell asleep and I was having a good dream. And then all of a sudden I just had this horrific feeling and I woke up. And when I tried to get up, I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. I couldn't scream. Nobody was home. Nobody else was in the house. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, couldn't do anything, couldn't move my hands or nothing. I tried to open my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, I swear to everything I love, there was this thing hanging from the edge hanging off the door in my bedroom. And it looked like it looked like a witch, like a witch, like not with a hat or anything, but like all right, so if you've ever seen the Blair Witch movie, you know when they give you the glimpse of what she looks like, and she's like made up out of like tree bark, and she's all like really bent up and decrepit. That's what it like she was That's what it looked like. She was latched on to the door in my bedroom, and she was looking at me, and like her skin and everything was all shrunken. Everything was shrunken in. Like she was really old, and she was hanging onto the edge of the door, and she was looking at me, and then she jumped off the door, landed on the bed, and she was getting closer and closer, and I shut my eyes, and I was just like, I was praying, man. I was praying, and I just kind of thought of myself engulfed in light, and I just immediately felt everything let go. I immediately felt everything let go. Everything that like the pressure on my chest, the hands, like I felt all of it like just let go, and I had full control over my body again. And I woke up and I called my mother. I was like, Ma. I called my mother and I was like, man, I swear I saw her. I saw the witch. I saw her. She was like, pray with me. I was like, I think my apartment's cursed. I've been having headaches, sleep paralysis, and it was so crazy. Yeah, that was one of the craziest experiences I've had with sleep paralysis, because it was the middle of the day. It wasn't a dark shadow or something creeped up in the corner where you can't really get a good look at it. Like, we made eye contact. Like, I see you, you see me, and I know I see you looking at me. And she was ready. She wanted the smoke. She was ready for all of it. She was ready. Oh, man. I don't care. That's my story. I know I'm not the only one that has stories like this. I know. And we're about to get into it, because I'm going to let you guys listen to some other... I'm going to let you guys listen to some clips of other people expressing what they've gone through in their experiences with sleep paralysis. So, here you go.
It felt as if there was a male presence there who was evil. I can remember seeing this figure in the doorway. I just knew it was female.
It hits me so hard at times where it knocks me off my mattress.
She's choking me so hard that I think that my voice box is going to collapse. First thing I remember as a child at night, I had just gone to bed. My mother just put me to bed, and I could see the lights on in the living room. I had just laid down for bed. I could hear my parents, I could hear the television, and I looked up, and to my right I saw a couple, very shadowy, very dark, in my bedroom. A man and a woman, and they started walking towards me. It's very frightening. I couldn't speak. I wanted to call out to my mother. I couldn't call out to her. I was just terrified. And right about that time, she walked into the room, and it appeared that she walked directly through the two people that were standing to my right. And I began asking her, who are these people in my room? What's going on? She kept telling me that it was just a dream, to go back to bed. And I said I wasn't asleep, it wasn't a dream. I could hear the television on in the other room. And that was the end of that. As soon as I become aware that there's someone in the room, I'll go into a paralysis, and I can't move, I can't shout out, I can't, I'm unable to call for help, and I'm unable to stop any kind of attack. Usually it's an attack. You can't move, you can't scream, feels like you've been drugged somehow. The old woman will sit on my chest, and she's not extremely heavy, but she's heavy enough that it's very hard to breathe. It's extremely hard to breathe. I can't get my lungs to expand. He'll have me around the base of my neck. She'll come up to the top part, and she's choking me so hard that I think that my voice box is going to collapse. The fear is extremely real.
I was sleeping in my bed, and there was a presence in the room.
I was paralyzed in the bed. He seemed like a shadow.
Probably about 6'5",
well over 6 foot.
very tall.
There was someone sitting on my chest.
Sitting on top of my chest.
The lady was old and haggard. She had straggly grey hair. Kind of an old woman standing in front of me.
And there was an old lady.
This just was not a nightmare.
I know that I am awake when this happens.
Can't escape from this entity that has entered your room.
It's a feeling of perhaps the greatest terror that one can imagine.
Friday the 26th, 24 in the morning. Saw some things. Still feeling pretty shaky. There was definitely a presence here. Oh God.
I can remember seeing this figure in the doorway. I just knew it was female, but I remember she was old, she had a haggard face, and she saw me, she looked me in the eyes, and she ran right up to my face. The way she came up to me, she glided, stopped right in front of my face, and literally 2 inches away from my nose, looked at me in the eyes, and she had what could be described as black eyeliner running down her face. The fear, it can be a tremendous amount of fear. If you can imagine lying in bed, it's dark, and you've got an intruder in the house. More than that, you're paralysed, your adrenaline is building up, your typical human response is to fight or flight. You can't help yourself, you can't defend yourself, and more than that, it's an unusual experience because you're witnessing some kind of hallucination, and for some people, they might think this is some kind of ghost or deity.
Last words were, in my mind, get a grip. It's just the floorboards creaking. Go to sleep, there's nothing to worry about.
It's made me question the nature of reality. It's made me look into many different areas. It's made me look into psychiatry, parapsychology, transpersonal psychology, all these different areas. I realised there could be other explanations for this, and then I started looking into it a bit more.
As I'm lying there, I realized that there's an evil presence next to me. And I look over, and there's a dark figure, and I realize that it's some sort of satanic, demonic being who's there to do me harm. So I tried to run away, but unfortunately I can't because I am paralyzed. I can't move a single muscle in my body. I realized that I'm waking up from a dream, but I still can't move. This being is still next to me and gonna do me harm. So it's still a very frightening experience.
Many people have sleep paralysis at least once in their life, maybe 30–40% of the population. Basically, on sleep-wake transition, usually on falling asleep, the patient experiences inability to move their muscles. Often, this sensation of paralysis is associated with hallucinations, with seeing things, dreamlike images, or feeling things. For example, seeing people in the room or any kind of animals or figures. They can hear like the pulse in their head, like a washing machine going on in their brain. Or they may hear nothing, they can just feel some presence in the room, horror, a lot of anxiety, and then they want to scream and run away, but they cannot, and it makes it even more scary. sleep is not just the quality of life. If you are not sleeping enough, it can cause heart problem, it can cause high blood pressure, increase the risk of stroke. And now we kind of even see relation to other disorders like mental disorders, depression, anxiety. They are much worse when the person is not getting enough sleep.
To death, I will attend you as a nocturnal fury. I will attack your faces, and brooding upon your restless breasts, I will deprive you of repose by terror.
All right, that was a lot to unpack. Yeah, it's just, there are plenty of us out there. Let me know in the comments what your experiences with sleep paralysis has been like. Have you resorted to staying up all night? I know I have. Hence the name, the whole creation of this podcast. Like, I've had some horrible dreams. I've had some, like I said before, I've had some crazy lucid dreams as well. And a lot of times, in order to just, I need to chill, I'll just stay up, especially if it's really bad, I'll try to stay up. And while I'm staying up, my creative juices are just at their peak. We spoke about this in season 1. I'll be like, you know what? I think I'm going to create. I'm going to write something. I'm going to try and draw something. I'm going to edit something, come up with a new concept for something. Speaking of which, I have a few new segments that will be rolled out periodically. So keep an eye out on the YouTube channel, because I think I'm going to announce it there. It's a little easier to announce it there than it would be here on the podcast. It helps my creative juices flow when I'm having one of those hard weeks of just not being able to sleep. Either because I can't sleep, because when I do sleep, I'm having crazy dreams, or I'm being attacked by witches, or I have a bunch of ideas floating around in my head, and I just can't sleep until I get those ideas written down on paper or drafted onto something. So that's just the struggle of being a creative. But yeah, let me know in the comments what your experience with sleep paralysis has been like. If you have a parasomnia, if you suffer from sleep apnea, what your experience. We had a former coworker of ours pass away from sleep apnea. And that's no joke. It's if you know someone that has gone through restless leg syndrome, and it's a lot to unpack. So parasomnias affect a great deal of the population, and I feel like we don't talk enough about the effects that the way our society functions has on our sleep, and how this notion that this romanticization of being the person that's sleep deprived because of work, a job that they actually don't like. There's a difference between being sleep deprived because you love what you're doing. Like, if you love your job and you love your job and you can't get enough of what you do, like an entrepreneur. They'll tell you an entrepreneur works like 90 hours because they love what they do. They can't sleep. They have to get up and get this idea out. They got to formulate a plan, That's completely different than being the person that thinks that, being a workaholic is the way to go. And, I don't get no sleep because I'm constantly working. I take up extra shifts. I don't really, have a social life. I don't really have any me time. That ain't nothing to be happy about, bro. Ain't nothing. You being a martyr for who? You're going to send yourself into an early grave. Going to give yourself a heart attack. So there's this complete unspoken, I don't want to say unspoken, but I just feel like it's not talked about enough, that lack of sleep is causing mental health deprivation as well. It all goes hand in hand. It all goes hand in hand. I know I've joked about being a creative and And I talked about in the first episode how Van Gogh and Salvador Dali used sleep deprivation to ignite their creative juices and their creative flows, and to see where it would take their mind. That's completely different than being told and being forced to stay awake or be sleep deprived because your job is telling you that that's the only way to get ahead, or because society is telling you that's the way you're supposed to be in order to get ahead. It's completely different. So I know I'm going off on a wild tangent here, but I just think we need to talk more about how sleep needs to be incorporated. There was a study done where it showed that kids and adults should not even be waking up before 7 a.m. Like, it's unhealthy. You're supposed to, your brain doesn't really start going till about 9, 10 a.m. So you should be waking up at like 8 o'clock. And I know people that are up by 5. I've done it before. I hate it. I am like a toddler. I need a nap by 12. I can't do it. It is not in my physical makeup. If I just can't. Kudos to those that naturally can, but for the others that are being forcefully told or have been told and have been forcefully making it a point to wake themselves up at 5 o'clock and be to work by 7, to work until almost 8, 9 o'clock, and then go home and sleep for like 3 or 4 hours and do it again. It's unhealthy. When are we going to get to a point where we realize this isn't working? It isn't healthy. But I digress. All right. So now we're going to get into a segment that I like to call Creative Works Inspired by Horrific Nightmares. It's only for this episode, I swear. So, movie review. In doing research for this episode, I watched the movie called Slumber. Now, it's about a Yorktown family that the entire family suffer from night terrors, and they go to a sleep clinic to get help because the entire family is suffering from night terrors. Like, they're all waking up around the same time, and they're all having sleep paralysis. They're having horrific nightmares. They're all suffering from the same parasomnia, and they are all, some of them are actually suffering from the same parasomnia, and some are suffering from other parasomnias, where you have I think the daughter was sleep talking, the father was sleepwalking, the mom was sleepwalking as well, and the son had sleep paralysis. And I would give the movie a solid 3.5 stars out of 5 stars, though. The movie did give me a few scares here and there. There were just moments when I was like, why? Why would anyone, even in this situation, do that? Why would you do that? The ending had a pretty good twist, though. That, I'll give it to them. That's why they got 3.5 stars. However, any thread on Reddit could have done a better job creating this script. Hell, my episode on lucid dreaming would pack more of a punch. But yeah, it was an okay movie. It was okay to watch. But it was a bit of an over exaggeration there, to say the least. I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't seen it. Would I recommend you see it? Sure, go ahead. I love horror flicks. Love horror movies. I would definitely watch it. I mean, I would definitely recommend for you to watch it. And, everyone has their own take on things, on what they feel makes a good horror movie. And like I said, I gave this one a 3.5. And on the same topic, movie reviews. So earlier I mentioned Wes Craven, and I mentioned his horrific franchise, the Freddy Krueger franchise. Let's talk about how he came up with this idea, the concept, the script. So Wes Craven stated that he came up with this entire horrifying, childhood-destroying, daytime nightmare-inducing creation because of an article he read in a newspaper about a boy or a young man who died after suffering night terrors and chronic insomnia. It is said that the boy's family found bags of coffee and a coffee maker hidden in the boy's room because he was trying to keep himself awake. Reading something like that will make any normal person cringe and want to hug their loved ones. But no, Wes Craven decided he would like to utterly replicate that horror into a 1 hour and 30-minute horror fest that stretched over a decade. It's like, thanks, bro. I honestly, I'm a huge fan of the new Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. After a while, it did get kind of corny and a bit cheesy, but it was like in a good way where you could kind of just laugh about it. But the first few movies, Dream Warriors, I think that was the worst, meaning in a good way, because it was my favorite and the one that scared me the most, because it really dove into being in a sleep clinic, and it took a real good mix of lucid dreaming and sleep paralysis, because there's a part in the movie where each of the people at the sleep clinic, the main protagonist, Nancy, after she survives her first 2 ordeals with Freddy, she goes on to be a sleep psychologist, and she decides that she wants to help other people with their insomnias and their parasomnias, and in doing so discovers that she is not the only one that has had interactions with this entity. So she makes it her due diligence to kind of try to teach them how to fight back. So it's just like her way of keeping the animal in the cage. And then she meets another girl that can pull other people into her dreams, and it just goes into a complete spiral from there. But it's one of my favorites in the franchise, and I just think it was just very well written, very well done. Kudos to the actress and actors, and I could not get enough. And I watched that movie when I was about 8 or 9. So yeah, let me know in the comments any other movies you guys can think of about sleep demons and movies about sleep. I'm sure there's a ton of them. I honestly just can't think of any right now. All right, we're gonna take a break here, and here is a message from our sponsors. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. We here at the Creative Insomniac, which is a Black and biracial owned brand and business, would also like to support other Black and multicultural businesses. With that being said, this portion of the episode is sponsored by Limitlicistics. Limitlicistics is the study of knowing no limits in your life. It is an everyday mantra. I see no limits, I speak no limits, and I know no limits. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. Head over to limitlicistics.com where you can purchase merchandise such as shirts, tote bags, glassware, and mugs. They also do custom orders. If you have a vision, they can make it a reality. So again, head over to www.limitlicistics.com. Again, the website is www.limitlicistics.com. Welcome back. Hit me up on Instagram at the Creative Insomniac _podcast. You guys can hit me up on Twitter at creative with the number 8 instead of an A, Insomniac. So CRE, number 8, IVINSOMNIAC. That is Twitter. You guys can also, like, subscribe, follow on Twitter and Instagram. And also you can subscribe on the YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Comment, leave a like. Tell me. I keep saying us like there's more than one person. It's just me, y'all. And tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to hear, what you guys want me to talk about. Please tell me your experiences. You can also send me a voice message through Anchor. I like everyone sending the messages there because it catalogs everything. And it's just easier to incorporate into the episode. You guys can send a voice message. You can also, if you like what we're doing here, you can also subscribe and become a supporter of the channel through Anchor. And we greatly appreciate, I keep saying we, but it's just me. I greatly appreciate it. It's what keeps this channel going. It's how we, it's how I survive. Yes, we, as in me and my demons, survive, and continue to bring you the best quality as possible. I definitely appreciate it. Shout out to our sponsors. All right, so we're just going to go through a quick rundown again of the different types of parasomnias and their behaviors, triggers, and just to summarize everything. So types of parasomnias include a wide range of abnormal behaviors, such as walking or talking during sleep. Parasomnias can occur during any sleep stage. There are 2 general sleep phases, which are NREM sleep, consisting of 3 different stages, and REM sleep. The body usually cycles through these stages 4 to 6 times during the night. Each sleep phase involves different types of brainwave activity and psychological changes. NREM sleep, also known as quiescent sleep, has 3 stages. Stage 1. This includes the transition from wakefulness to sleep. Brainwave activity begins slowing down during this sleep stage. Stage 2, this is a period of light sleep in which a person's heart rate and breathing slow down. Their body temperature drops. Their muscles relax. Their eye movement stops. And then stage 3. This involves deep restorative sleep. This sleep phase occurs during the first half of the night. And then there's REM sleep. REM sleep begins about 1.5 hours after a person falls asleep. The REM sleep phase involves rapid side-to-side eye movement, increased brainwave activity, and irregular breathing. NREM parasomnias are examples of parasomnias that occur in the first sleep phase include sleepwalking. Sleepwalking is an arousal disorder in which a person gets up and walks around while asleep. Sleepwalking can also involve sleep talking or performing routine activities such as preparing food or driving. Oh my God, that is so scary. That is scary. If a person wakes up in the middle of a sleepwalking episode, they may appear confused or disoriented. I was always told that you're not supposed to wake anyone up if they're having a sleepwalking episode, because you could give them a heart attack. That's scary. You would definitely give me a heart attack if I was sleepwalking or driving and I woke up and I'm in the car and I knew I went to sleep. Like I know I'm supposed to be in bed right now and I wake up in the middle of the highway. That is horrifying. Whew. There's another in-REM parasomnia, which is called sleep bruxism. Sleep bruxism is a type of movement disorder that involves clenching or grinding teeth during sleep. About 13% of adults have sleep bruxism. Over time, bruxism can lead to headaches, earaches, jaw pain, and abnormal tooth wear. My son does this. He grinds his teeth in the middle of the night, and I can hear it from our bedroom. I can just hear him grinding his teeth, and it is bone chilling. It is like the worst, like the most bone chilling sound in the middle of the night. You know, just in the middle at 3 a.m. and all you hear is, and I'm like, what the freak is that? And it's him just grinding his teeth. Poor thing. Another in-REM parasomnia is called confusional arousal. Confusional arousal happens when a person wakes up in a state of confusion. The individual may not know where they are or what they are doing. Other symptoms of confusional arousal include speaking slower than usual, slower reaction time, crying, shouting, poor memory, poor coordination. Confusion arousal occurs in about 17% of children. Episodes can last anywhere from a few minutes to several hours, and my eldest has done this before, where she walked into the room and I knew she was asleep. I could tell she was asleep, but her eyes were open and she was just talking, and she was just like, yeah, I told them that's what they were supposed to do, and they didn't listen, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I was like, are you okay? It's like, you all right? And I was like, you're sleeping. Oh my goodness. And then she kind of just woke up out of it and was like, where am I? What is happening? And I was like, I don't know, but maybe you should drink some water and go lay back down. And the final in-REM parasomnia is sleep terrors. Sleep or night terrors are when a person experiences intense feeling of panic or fear during the first third of the night. Sleep terrors occur most often in children between the ages of 3 and 7 years old. Sleep terror symptoms include screaming or thrashing around, rapid heartbeat, abnormal fast breathing, dilated pupils, and sweating. Episodes last between 10 to 20 minutes. Most children return to sleep afterwards and do not remember having the sleep terror at all. And so that is a quick rundown of parasomnias, sleep paralysis, and what you guys can look forward to for season 2. Because we're going to take an even deeper dive and come back to sleep paralysis, but also a deeper dive into these other sleep parasomnias, because it gets much, much worse. I gave you the light version to kind of ease you in to the season. And I hope I've been as entertaining as possible throughout this episode. I try, you guys, I try. So I'm going to leave it here, and I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. I welcome you all back to the Creative Insomniac podcast. I welcome you all to the YouTube channel that is going to slowly but surely be launching more behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, I'm going to show you like how I edit the episodes. I may put a visual episode up here and there, do a story time, do a live stream. We have some, barside chats planned, some interviews, things that I was supposed to do and kind of roll out in the season 1. But again, because of my surgery and because cancer utterly fucking sucks, I had to postpone until season 2. So I hope you guys stick around. I hope you enjoy what we have planned, and we're really going to take off in this season and this year, kind of go out and finish the year with a bang. Everyone stay safe and like, subscribe, and please tell me what you like so far about this season, what you're looking forward to, if you have any suggestions, or if you would like to be on an episode of The Creative Insomniac. By all means, I am open to speak with anyone, any chats. We could have a nice little chat here if you have any thoughts about some of the topics that I've spoken about, or just if you want to chat, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. All right, folks, I am your host, Selena LeBron, and this is The Creative Insomniac.